Okay, let's dive right in. We need to talk about a hidden threat, something that's operating in the one place we all feel pretty safe, inside our own web browsers. You can think of it like a new kind of invisible thief. And believe me, its heist is happening on a massive global scale. And when I say massive, I mean it. Just look at that number. Over $3.25 billion. That's the estimated financial loss every single year from this one specific type of cyber attack. So yeah, this isn't some minor glitch. It's a huge hidden drain on the entire digital economy.
So what is this invisible thief? Well, the technical term is a man-in-the-browser attack, but let's break that down. Put simply, it's malware that doesn't just infect your computer, it literally moves into your web browser. It just lives there, quietly watching everything you do, and it's able to change what you see and what you send without you having a clue.
This is probably the best way to think about it. You know all those security measures we trust? Things like SSL encryption, that little padlock icon in your address bar? Well, those are like the alarms on the doors and windows of your house. But a man-in-the-browser attack doesn't bother trying to break in from the outside. It's already inside, which makes all those external alarms totally useless.
This brings us to a really crucial question, right? If our security isn't working against this, then why not? Well, as the slide says, it's because most of our digital security guards are basically watching the wrong door. Let's dig into why that is.
Your typical antivirus software, it works kind of like a security guard with a photo album of known criminals. It just tries to match threats against this most wanted list. But here's the problem. Modern malware is a master of disguise. It's constantly changing its appearance, its code, its whole signature, which makes those old photos completely worthless. In fact, some research shows that against these kinds of threats, antivirus detection rates can drop to a shocking 45%.
And hey, it's not just the antivirus that's failing. Network monitoring tools can't see what's happening inside that encrypted connection between you and, say, your bank. Any security checks happening on the bank server are usually way too late. The fraud already happened on your computer. And a lot of the older browser security tools, they're just not sophisticated enough to keep up with this stuff anymore.
Okay, so the old guards are failing. It is clearly time for a totally new game plan. We don't need another guard at the door. We need a new, high-tech detective that patrols the hallways, one that fights the threat from the inside out.
And here's what that new strategy looks like. The researchers behind this built what they call a client-side agent. Instead of watching all the chaotic traffic on the network, it monitors the web browser itself. The logic is so simple and smart. If the browser is the scene of the crime, well, that's exactly where your detective ought to be.
So how does this new detective actually work? It's not just one trick, it's a whole toolkit. The system uses this really powerful three-pronged strategy to catch the thief red-handed.
Okay, let's break this down. First, it's doing what's called runtime monitoring, which means it's constantly checking the web page for any weird, unauthorized changes. Second, it uses memory forensics. This is so cool. It's like dusting for digital fingerprints right inside the browser's memory to find hidden bits of malicious code. And third, it uses AI for anomaly detection. It actually learns your normal patterns, how you type, the way you move your mouse, and it instantly flags any behavior that doesn't look like you.
So the big question, does this high-tech detective actually get the job done? Well, the researchers threw a ton of real-world malware at it, and yeah, the evidence is pretty overwhelming.
The headline number from all their experiments is a detection accuracy of 97.3%. I mean, that is just an incredibly high success rate, especially when you remember that traditional antivirus can be less than 50% effective against the very same threats. So, how does that stack up against other advanced systems? This chart shows something called an F1 score. All you need to know is that it's a standard way to measure accuracy, and a higher score is better. The new system, that bar on the far left, scores a 96.5. Now look at the other academic systems, Swadler and Vex. It's not just a little bit better, it's a massive leap forward.
Okay, this graph is called an ROC curve. It's another way the pros measure accuracy. It might look a little technical, but the idea is super simple. A perfect score would be a line that goes straight up the left side and then straight across the top. As you can see, that blue line, that's our new system, gets way, way closer to that perfect score than any of the others. It's just in a different league.
But this, to me, is the really crucial test. How does it do against security products you can actually buy today? Well, for zero-day threats, that's brand new malware that nobody's ever seen before, it detects over 94% of them. The best commercial solution they tested only caught about 67%. And the speed? It spots a threat in just 142 milliseconds.
That is nearly 7 times faster than its closest commercial rival. It's just wow.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. All this power must slow your computer down to a crawl, right? Well, that's the other incredible breakthrough here. This whole system is so efficient that it uses less than 3% of your computer's CPU. You seriously would not even notice it's running, but it's there, quietly giving you constant protection.
So, let's just zoom out for a minute. What we have is a system that's powerful, it's fast, and it's incredibly lightweight. What does a technology like this actually mean for the future of our security online?
The researchers' own conclusion really says it all. This is about a huge shift in our whole strategy. For years, we've been trying to build bigger and bigger walls around the castle. This new approach is about placing a smart, fast, and vigilant guard right next to the throne itself, right at the actual point of attack.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. For decades, the entire cybersecurity industry has focused on securing the network, on securing the servers. But this research forces us to ask a totally new question. What if the real key to being safe online isn't about watching the vast, chaotic internet at all, but about closely and intelligently watching the one window through which we see everything, our browser?